What a solid episode of Impact Wrestling this week, eh? The Tuesday Night War started pretty well for Impact, I've got to say. A brand new world champion, a returning knockout, a proposal in Wrestle House. It was all happening, and of course, most importantly, a couple of pay-per-view quality matches were added for us on free TV in the show as well. Two matches that I thought were being saved for Bound for Glory, but still, with the way the storylines were working out, they still could end up on Bound for Glory in some fashion. Of course, I'm talking about Sami Callihan versus Rob Van Dam, and of course the Impact World Championship, which changed hands. Eddie Edwards losing the belt to Eric Young, and that's the main focus of this video, is that championship match, because, well, while it was a solid match and I think it told a good story, the question needs to be asked: was it too soon on Eric Young's return to win the Impact World Championship? Now, don't forget who he's been previously, and he was barely featured on TV in the last 2 years. How does that look on the rest of the roster? Now, that's something I've asked previously, but I'm going to flip the switch today. I'm going to talk about it in a different light. I'm going to talk about it in a positive way, because I do think Eric Young winning that championship actually is a positive thing, and I'm going to explain my reasons why. Because you strike the iron when it's hot. Something that other companies don't always do is that when a talent is finding themselves getting over organically with the storytelling and what has been happening with Eric Young since his return, he has turned up as a different animal, a different beast. Literally, he has got fire in his eyes and is probably doing some of the best work of his career since returning in a short-term span of Impact Wrestling. Let's not forget, on night one, he put Rich Swann on the shelf after he just returned, and then he retired Rich Swann, and Eric Young took him out a second time. He's now took on Eddie Edwards and beat him for the championship when Eddie was most vulnerable. Quite classic, with an open challenge on a weekly basis, taking on different opponents. It was only a matter of time before Eddie was going to be weak and he was going to be wounded, and Eric Young would pick the right time and swoop in and win that championship. And that's exactly what happened in this match. Eddie Edwards, you could see the left knee tweaked halfway through the match, and again towards the end of the match. It was to the point that Eddie Edwards just wasn't 100% anymore, and the world-class Maniac clearly was not just world-class as a Maniac, his intelligence level was there as well, and was able to capitalise and win the World Championship. Now, as I said, he's been on a roll. He can now go in to Bound for Glory as the champion. There's no reason why you couldn't do a rematch. Eddie Edwards was not 100% going in. It quite clearly showed throughout the match. You could do a rematch with Eddie then at 100%, and that could easily be your main event for Bound for Glory. So I really think that this has been done pretty well. And I mean, I wasn't really a fan of a continual open challenge each and every week for your World Championship. I'm used to seeing it for mid-card championships, and I'm perfectly okay with it. I think it's nice for someone new to come in as well, give someone a payday on the independents. We didn't really see much of that with Impact. We saw, obviously, the debut in Brian Myers, but we got some top-quality matches with the Impact roster. And it was nice to see those talents, though, get their opportunity, which Eddie Edwards was giving. But it's not something on a story, line term you can do forever. So it was time to make a change. It felt like Bound for Glory was going to be the last place that Eddie Edwards would hold that championship. So to make the change here, it kind of feels like it makes sense. The timing felt kind of right in its way. I am actually fully in support when I said previously maybe it wouldn't be the right move to do. And I think from here, Eric Young can hold that championship, and he's got, a rematch potential with Eddie Edwards. Maybe when Rich Swann, as we know, he's going to come back. That could be a match somewhere further down the line as well. There's lots of possibilities here, and I'm excited with what they're doing with Impact Wrestling here. Maybe, just maybe, we could get a match down the line with EC3 as well. EC3 and Moose, I love the direction that's gone with that storyline as well. Moose literally on the hunt, after seeing the latest video from EC3 that that championship was going to be returned to him piece by piece. And I just love the way that that championship needs to be destroyed in EC3's eyes, and I like the way it's being done in storyline terms. I mean, after all, it's not a recognised championship now in Impact Wrestling. So for the fact that Moose is going to do everything he can to recover it, and EC3 is doing everything he can to destroy it, I think it makes a very fun storyline. And I like the spy element that was done at the end of the episode. I thought that was pretty well put together. So I really enjoyed that element of the show as well. I thought it was really exciting. We talked about Sami Callihan and Rob Van Dam earlier. It was a quick roll-up that Sami got the victory, an attack from Rob Van Dam and Katie Forbes after the match. The match wasn't 100% solid, but I must admit they're still going with this angle angle that it started a week or so ago with Rob Van Dam. You know, is time catching up on him? Is he at his best? I think he's simply just being distracted too much by Katie Forbes. His eyes are not on the prize. I think that's the main issue here, but they're doing it with other things, with him leaping to the top of the turnbuckle. There's lots of different areas where they can continue to go with this storyline afterwards. I do wonder if maybe RVD's time in Impact is coming up soon. Maybe he might be written off. Maybe he's just simply going to retire. I don't know. There could be some form of stipulation like that. It could be interesting to see where they're going to go next with this storyline. They certainly have got my full attention. Tenille Dashwood made a surprise return during Deonna Purrazzo's black tie affair promo with all superstars around the ring. Not a black tie in sight, though, I might add. I had a bit of a gripe with that, but everyone dressed to the nines as best as they could be for the show with the wacky Impact roster they had. Tenille coming out and saying that she could do what Jordynne Grace couldn't do, and that was take the championship. It looks to have started a bit of beef with Jordynne and Tenille. Maybe that's going to be a build-up rather than going straight for the championship. Kylie Ray has come back after Wrestle House has finished now. Yes, they all returned during that segment. Of course, Wrestle House was very entertaining and a great way to close it off as well. Felt like a full series of Jersey Shore, didn't it? Ended about that 7 or 8 week mark. It was a perfect time to stop it. Certainly on a UK market, when you have the Geordie Shore, they usually last about 8 to 10 episodes. Feels like the perfect length, but Bound for Glory seems like it's finally taking some shape there. Kylie Ray finally coming in now. She can, as the #1 contender, start her program finally with Deonna Purrazzo. So it looks like we've got 2 exciting matches pulled off. I just hope for the other women, they're going to have something to do. I want to see the Knockouts Tag Team Championships return. I'd love to see it return at Bound for Glory, but that's probably wishful thinking on my part. But, I mean, we talk about Ty and Rosemary. They could be an interesting team. I mean, there were opponents this week. Of course, the winner was going to get Johnny Bravo in the Wrestle House. But, of course, Johnny Bravo was given the honour of being the special guest referee. He called it right down the middle, and Rosemary, she lost clean. I mean, of course, for Johnny Bravo here, maybe he did the swingman's advice and took that advice after all, because he's going to remain as Ty's manager in the ring, but out of the ring, he's proposed to Rosemary, and she said yes. Wrestling weddings can be hit and miss in the past, from what I've seen from my experience, but I don't think we've had one in Impact Wrestling for a number of years. The one last comes to my mind was Bully Ray and Brooke Hogan, which that was probably quite questionable back in the day. I do hope that if they do have a storyline set for this, that it would be more positive than negative when we've seen it at the end. But Impact Wrestling at the moment have been very strong with their booking, so I'm going to keep faith with their booking direction of this. But hopefully, Rosemary and Ty can remain on the same page. I would like to see them as Knockouts Tag Champs. I think it would work pretty well. If Ty has not got a problem with, which she says she hasn't, with the Johnny Bravo and Rosemary relationship, why can't they all continue to be a unit? It would be interesting. One other thing I want to talk about as well with Wrestle House this week, I thought it was really good that the Dinas and Triple XL had a lengthy match. They had a lot of TV time, and I do think when you look at the closure of Wrestle House, I do think certain characters that we didn't know so well before, Larry D is a great example, which Lawrence D, that little change he has, I think that he's really stood out. You look at certain characters and think, I didn't know enough about you before, but really they've come out showing lots of personality. AC Romero, definitely another one that's come out there. The Dinas have been quite entertaining their spot. Crazy Steve, of course, is a natural character anyway. Johnny Swingers, we know, a natural character anyway. But there's certain characters that you just think, I think Triple XL and the Dinas, I think have come out really well on the other side of this. It's not just been the main characters that have benefited from this. Some of the undercard in this sort of little story, this Wrestle House, I think have benefited as well. And I look to see what they're going to do with these guys now they're going to be back in the Impact Zone, because they all arrived, as I said, in the middle of that black tie affair, which I do think was very fun and interesting way to bring them all back in straight in the middle of a segment where the whole roster was meant to be there anyway. I think that was quite creative. Rhino beat Reno Scum with the help of Heath Slater, who was dressed up as a cameraman. Heath's still not part of the Impact roster, though. Unfortunately, was chased off by security guards and Scott D'Amore after the match. There must be a match coming up for Bound for Glory where he can actually earn himself an opportunity to be a part of Impact again, because he's not going anywhere. Fans want it. It seems that this must be the leading storyline going into Bound for Glory, so I hope we're going to get some more progression with that as weeks go on. As well as that, we know next week we've got the Motor City Machine Guns against the Rascals. The Rascals beat Ace Austin and Madman Fulton, which did surprise me on this show. But it looks like that Ace Austin and Madman Fulton still are in the mix. They did actually attack the Rascals after they accepted having that title match next week. I do wonder if all three teams could be in the mix going forward. Next week as well, we know we've got TJB against Chris Bay. Looks like the winner of that will be going for the X Division Championship. But Rahid Raju, he snuck away with the belt before. I do wonder where they're going to go with this. I do have a sneaky suspicion. I've got a little prediction in my mind, but I'm going to keep that one for this video because I am going to do a Bound for Glory match card predictions, and I'm going to try and put that video out before the end of this week. So that's a good reason for you. If you're an Impact Wrestling fan and you like keep an eye on the channel, then make sure to definitely keep it here. Maybe subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and you can be hitting that bell for the notification, and it will come up hopefully later this week. I'll give you my full predictions for Bound for Glory. Maybe share it with an Impact friend as well. Let them know that SCW here is doing videos on Impact Wrestling. And of course, we're getting now a little bit closer to Bound for Glory now. It feels that we've gone past that halfway point. Emergence has passed. Rivalries are starting to fall into place. I'm excited as an Impact fan. You may have gathered that through this video. A lot of positive vibes coming with that show that came on our TV last night. And I'm excited to see where it's going to lead to next week and beyond. So make sure to keep an eye here on SCW. So if you want to keep up to date with other companies as well, AEW All Out predictions will be coming to the channel in 24 hours from now. So a good reason to keep up and up to date with that as well. As well as that, this week in wrestling, we're going to be talking about all the events of all the companies this week in the world of wrestling. That's going to be dropping on Friday. Ask SCW, the Q&A will be on Sunday. So lots to keep out for. Hopefully 4 videos more dropping this week. So keep an eye here on SCW. Thank you for supporting the channel as always. And if you're a first time viewer, thank you for checking this out. If you're a regular viewer, thank you, as I said, as always. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. This has been Impact Wrestling. Eric Young is our brand new world champion. Take care.